Okay folks, buckle up, because exclusively for you, we're diving into the glass sky theory. The idea that the sky above us isn't just air, but a lens bending light, time, and maybe even reality itself. Get ready for a wild ride. The sky isn't empty. Look up. The sky you see, that endless blue dome, might not be what you think. For thousands of years, people believed it was solid. A crystal vault separating Earth from the heavens. A ceiling built by gods hammered into place to hold back the chaos beyond. Today, we call it the atmosphere. But what if the ancients weren't wrong, just early? Because modern science confirms the sky bends light. It warps, refracts, and reflects entire landscapes, pulling mirages, cities, and suns into impossible places. And sometimes, if you watch closely enough, reality itself seems to shimmer, like you're looking through glass. Tonight, we're exploring the glass sky theory, the idea that the atmosphere isn't just a lens for light, it's a lens for reality itself. Okay, that's already giving me Truman Show vibes, but seriously, imagine if everything we see is being filtered, refracted, even slightly edited by the sky itself. The ancients thought the heavens were solid. We just call it science now. Either way, someone's been running quality control on reality since the dawn of time. Personally, I'm just hoping that it's not Windows Vista up there. The Ancient Firmament. Long before telescopes or satellites, humans looked up and saw perfection. A flawless, unchanging dome stretched over the world. To the ancient Hebrews, it was called the rakia, the firmament, a vast divider that held back the waters of heaven. The Egyptians imagined the goddess Nut, her body arched protectively over the earth, studded with stars. And in Norse myth, the gods made the sky from the skull of a giant named Ymir, the ultimate celestial ceiling. Across continents and centuries, the message was the same. The sky wasn't empty, it was structure, it was a barrier, it was something. Why did so many civilizations, separated by oceans and time, describe the same thing? Maybe it wasn't superstition. Maybe they were responding to something real, something we've forgotten to notice. Even without modern science, they observed light behaving strangely. Reflections in water, heat waves bending the horizon, distant mountains appearing upside down in the air. To them, these weren't tricks of physics. They were glimpses of the world beyond the dome. And here's the eerie part. They weren't entirely wrong, because scientists today know that our atmosphere does act like a lens. It bends light, it distorts perception, it creates illusions. Entire cities appearing in the sky, suns doubling, stars shifting position. Maybe the ancients didn't build the idea of the dome from imagination. Maybe they were just describing the first version of what we now call refraction. You know, I always thought the firmament thing was just poetic, like ancient sky fan fiction, but the more you look into it, the more it feels like early observational science. They noticed something weird. They just explained it their way. Honestly, if I'd seen mountains floating in the sky 3,000 years ago, I'd probably invent a sky goddess too. Feels like the universe was hinting early that the lens was already in place. The science of the mirage. Imagine standing on a quiet coastline at dusk. The air is cool, the sea perfectly still. And out on the horizon, you see it. A ship, but it's floating above the water. It glides silently through the air, its reflection shimmering upside down beneath it. You blink and it's gone. It sounds like science fiction, but it's a real phenomenon, known as a superior mirage or Fata Morgana. Named after the sorceress Morgan Le Fay, it's a trick of the atmosphere, where layers of air at different temperatures bend light so drastically that they will lift objects into the sky. It's been documented for centuries. In 1913, Arctic explorers swore they discovered land on the horizon. Croker Land, they called it, only for it to vanish as they approached. In 2011, residents of Huangshan, China, saw a city in the clouds, skyscrapers and streets suspended above the river. And off the coastline of Cornwall and Alaska, Floating ships have been photographed. Massive vessels hovering above the sea. Optical ghosts adrift in warm and cold air. These aren't hallucinations, they are physics. The atmosphere bending reality like glass. But here's where it gets strange. Some researchers have suggested that these mirages might tell us more than just how light behaves. If the atmosphere can project entire cities into the sky, what happens when it bends everything we see? Because maybe, just maybe, the sky isn't a window looking out, it's a mirror looking back in. So yeah, floating ships, phantom cities, and the atmosphere basically cosplaying as Photoshop. Wild, right? But what blows my mind is how accurate these illusions are. You're not imagining it. Your eyes are just getting pranked by temperature gradients. Still, if the air can lift a whole skyline into the clouds, I'm not ruling out the possibility that it occasionally gives reality itself a little facelift. The lens of reality. Every single thing we see, every colour, every sunset, every star, is filtered through one thin layer of air. The atmosphere doesn't just let us see the world, it decides how we see it. Take the colour of the sky. It's not really blue. It's Rayleigh scattering. Sunlight hits air molecules and breaks apart, scattering short blue wavelengths toward our eyes. At sunlight, that same light travels farther, losing blue and violet, leaving behind red and gold. The sky isn't showing us its colour, it's showing us its interpretation of light. Even the stars, the one thing we think of as constant, flicker and waver because their light passes through turbulent air. Astronomers have to correct that distortion with adaptive optics, basically high-tech glasses for telescopes. And without it, our view of the universe would look like it's underwater. And that's the thing, it kind of is. Our atmosphere is a sea of particles, bending, twisting, and distorting light constantly. Everything we see is refracted, delayed, and edited by the air between us and the source. Fringe theorists take that one step further. They suggest the atmosphere could act like a medium, not just for light, but for perception itself. If consciousness interacts with physical reality, maybe the atmosphere is the interface. A kind of cosmic lens where thought, light, and observation merge. The bridge between what is and what's perceived. In that sense, the sky doesn't just show us the world, it renders it. So basically, the atmosphere is just the universe's Instagram filter, bending light, distorting distance, and occasionally deleting stars mid-post. But seriously, the fact that we never see raw reality is kind of humbling. Every photo, every sunset, even your reflection, all edited by physics before it reaches you. Which honestly makes the idea that the sky might be more than air feel a little less far-fetched. Through the curvature, high above the Earth, just beyond where planes can fly, there's a paper-thin veil. Astronauts describe it as glowing, a fragile blue arc that hugs the planet like glass holding back infinity. They call it the atmosphere, but up close, it looks like something else entirely. A membrane, a boundary, a line between what's real and what's beyond perception. The glass sky theory sits right on that edge, the place where physics meets philosophy. See, in 2003, philosopher Nick Bostrom proposed the simulation hypothesis, the idea that we could be living inside a computational construct, a universe built not from matter but from information. And if that's true, then maybe the atmosphere isn't just air. Maybe it's the render boundary, the point where data becomes light, and light becomes the world we see. It's a fringe idea, sure, but there's something about it that feels familiar. Because science already tells us that everything from sunlight to satellite signals bends through that thin layer before it reaches us. It's our first and final filter of perception. Fringe researchers argue that this thin glowing shell might occasionally loop light along Earth's curvature, creating sky reflections, phantom mirages, or what some call reality echoes, repeating data patterns in the visible world. Mainstream science calls them atmospheric refractions. But maybe, just maybe, they're both right. Because if reality is information, then every sunrise, every flicker, every shimmer in the sky might just be the system updating, the world re-rendering itself in real time. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. We're not seriously calling the atmosphere a hologram, right? Well, don't worry, this isn't the Matrix yet. But what's fascinating is how this render boundary idea overlaps with real physics. The atmosphere really is the barrier between us and everything else. It edits light, filters data, and, if nothing else, proves one thing: we're all living behind cosmic anti-glare glass. The dome that remembers. Maybe the ancients weren't describing superstition. Maybe they were describing perspective. When they spoke of a crystal dome separating heaven from earth, the firmament, the vault of the gods, maybe they were trying to explain what we now call the atmosphere, a living interface between perception and existence. Because when you think about it, the sky really does act like memory. It bends, filters, and reflects everything we think we know. Every rainbow, every halo around the moon, every phantom ship in the sky. All of it is the atmosphere remembering light's path. And maybe that's what the glass sky theory is really about. Not that there's literal glass above us, but that we live within a system built to refract, to distort, to reflect, to remind. Every shimmer in the horizon, every sunset that looks too perfect, every mirage that feels too real. They're all part of the same quiet truth. We never see the universe directly. We see it bent through ourselves. So, when the air flickers, when light wavers just enough to make you doubt what's real, don't think glitch, think message. Because maybe reality isn't trying to hide from us. Maybe it's trying to show us how to see. So yeah, maybe the sky isn't a hologram or a dome of glass. Maybe it's just the universe's biggest mirror. Personally, I find that kind of poetic. Because if reality really does bend, at least it bends toward wonder. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this one. And thank you so much for becoming a member. I'm hoping it will help the channel survive the algorithm storm, and I really appreciate it. I really do. Thank you. And let me know in the chat below what videos you would like to see next time. Okay, my special friends, stay safe, and until next time, stay curious.